Darkstalkers, known as Vampire in Japan, is a fighting game series created by Capcom in '94. Set in a gothic fiction universe, it features characters based on monsters from international folklore and showcases a stylized 2D graphic style. The series has a total of 5 games, but from a canonical perspective, it has only 2. Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge, known in Japan as Vampire Hunter Darkstalkers Revenge, and Vampire Savior the Lord of Vampire, also known as Darkstalkers 3. And this is my biggest complaint about this series. It is its super confusing naming, making it a headache to figure out which is the canon game, the sequel, or the upgraded/remake version. Long story short, when it comes to the Darkstalkers story, it's important to note that Capcom only regards the mainline games and directly associated materials such as guidebooks, manuals, and graphic files as canon. Other media, including adaptations, crossovers, and spin-offs, are either considered to have their own continuity or are seen as containing entirely fictional events. The canon of the first game, Darkstalkers the Night Warriors, or Vampire the Night Warriors, has been retconned, leaving only Vampire Hunter and Vampire Savior as canon. Therefore, for these videos, we'll focus only on the story and lore set in the mainline games, and nothing else. Without further ado, here's the Darkstalkers story explained, Part 1. Our story begins with Pyron, an alien from the planet Hellstorm, known for its inhabitants' love for war. Saying that Pyron is a colossal being would be one heck of an understatement. He has a size that far surpasses the Milky Way and an orbital span stretching over 400,000 light years. Just how the heck is that a fighting game character? How can you even fight something like that, I hear you asking? Well, just bear with me for the moment. Over the span of 200 million years, he has sought to collect worlds and other celestial objects by consuming them in flames. Pyron is dark, prideful, and arrogant, often calling himself the Lord of the Living Flames. He believes himself to be the true master of fire, and relentlessly seeks out new worlds to fuel his hunger. Made of pure solar energy, Pyron can fly at speeds beyond light and consume worlds to fill his body. His extraordinary powers include super strength, the ability to dodge bullets with amazing speed, high durability to withstand powerful attacks, and the ability to fly. Moreover, Pyron can shapeshift his size to match that of his foes, teleport short distances, and create flame-based beings. However, despite his immense power, Pyron is not without weaknesses. He must feed on other worlds and solar energy to maintain his full potential, as his power diminishes over time with excessive energy use. After traversing the cosmos faster than light, Pyron made landfall on Earth. More specifically, he landed deep in the Atlantic Ocean, biding his time for the opportune moment to devour Earth. His initial arrival dates back 65 million years to the age of dinosaurs, during which he engineered the Weasels, avatars of destruction also known as Phobos, to orchestrate the demise of terrestrial life, ultimately triggering the extinction event. The reason behind his abstention from planetary consumption then remains mysterious. Speculation suggests a calculated desire to first purge the world of all life forms, potentially driven by his ability to sense the burgeoning supernatural energies that would manifest in Earth's future. Pyron's awareness extended beyond mere mortal realms. He discerned the presence of Makai, the demonic dimension intertwined with Earth's reality, foreseeing it as a crucible of formidable adversaries worthy of his combat prowess. A connoisseur of challenges, Pyron relishes testing his mettle in hand-to-hand combat against worthy foes. Thus, he slumbered through the aeons, awaiting the emergence of adversaries worthy of his might, intent on vanquishing them before proceeding with his cosmic feast upon the planet. The aforementioned Makai is a parallel realm interconnected with Earth and various other dimensions, and is home to a plethora of supernatural beings known as Darkstalkers. This realm teems with legendary creatures such as werewolves, vampires, zombies, succubi, shinigami, and many others. Many of these entities have forged close relationships with the noble houses of Makai. For instance, the werewolves are allied with the Hsien-ko family's kingdom, while the Sulbi race has a partnership with the kingdom of Doma. While some Darkstalkers, like vampires, often prey on helpless human souls or seek to dominate humanity, not all inhabitants of Makai harbor hostile intentions toward mankind. These beings are categorized by their powers, with classifications ranging from the weaker D class to the formidable S class. In the historical annals of Makai, Zeruru Iceland is recorded as the first supernatural being to rule the realm and its inhabitants with respect. This era heralded the rise of the Makai nobles, who sought to extend control over different parts of the realm. These power-hungry ambitions often led to conflicts with other supernatural beings, many of whom opposed the nobles' authoritarian views and desire for absolute power. Some chose to leave Makai to carve out their own destinies, forming relationships and families even with humans. The ensuing power struggle splintered Makai into 3 regions, each governed by a noble family. The realm came under the rule of 3 noble houses: the Iceland family, led by Belial, a descendant of Zeruru and the ruler of Makai; the Doma family, led by the ambitious Jedah; and the Vorstel family, led by Galnan. However, this delicate balance of power is on the verge of disruption. After the fall of Galnan, the master of the Vorstel family and the eldest of the 3 high nobles, Jedah Doma, the youngest, and by youngest I mean he was only 6,000 years old, began to take action. Always concerned about the future of Makai, Jedah believed that if the realm remained under the rule of Belial Iceland, the king of the Iceland family and the true ruler of Makai, it would descend into chaos. To Jedah, Belial's acceptance of chaos as destiny and life signaled his unfitness to rule. Consequently, Jedah sought an opportunity to overthrow Belial and waited patiently for the right moment to seize control of the realm. Jedah's confidant, Ozam, joined him with the ulterior motive of collecting souls. Despite being a second-class noble, Ozam was a genius in trickery and tactical planning. He advised Jedah to utilize the Gate of Makai, suggesting they break part of the seal to open the gate wider. Confident in his soul-absorbing abilities, Jedah agreed. Upon reaching the gate, Ozam sensed the immense power within and realized that even Jedah would be destroyed if he absorbed it all at once. When the seals were broken, Ozam fled to the far reaches of Makai. As Jedah was overwhelmed and destroyed by the immense power, Ozam gathered the remaining energy. He then proclaimed himself the new master of the Doma family, renaming his domain Castle Ozam and taking the title of Emperor Ozam. However, the story of Jedah is far from over. Later, while Ozam enjoyed his rule over the Doma lands, a young rock star named Lord Raptor caught his attention. Raptor was a charismatic guitarist and singer. He was revered as the god of metal by his peers, quickly achieving cult leader status upon beginning his music career. In exchange for power, Raptor made a gruesome sacrifice, offering himself and 100 of his fans during a performance. When Ozam heard of Raptor's dark deeds, he resurrected him as a zombie and enlisted him into his service. However, wary of Raptor's potential for deceit, Ozam deployed Lemalta, a small purple cyclops-like creature, to spy on Raptor from the shadows. Back to Belial. The demon never desired to rule Makai with an iron fist, viewing the realm as an extension of himself. Despite his depiction as a tyrannical demon king, Belial was actually a kind-hearted ruler, motivated by the well-being of his realm. In 1678, in a region of Scotland, Belial discovered a baby succubus and took her in as his foster child. He foresaw that Makai would soon face a crisis that could lead to its downfall. A great life form would be needed to maintain the delicate balance of Makai, but he knew that such a being would not be born into the Iceland family for another 1200 years. With this knowledge, Belial decided to entrust the future of the Iceland family and thus Makai to his foster child. He named her Morrigan. Morrigan was a unique succubus even among the Darkstalkers, born as an S-class noble. She possessed immense powers that she could not control, posing a threat to herself and her surroundings. To protect her, Belial split her soul into 3 parts. One he kept within himself, another he placed in a pocket dimension, and the remaining third he left with Morrigan. Unaware of this, Morrigan grew up with only a fraction of her power. Finding life in the Iceland castle doll, she frequently visited the human world in search of excitement. This behavior was not simply that of a bratty and spoiled princess. Morrigan needed stimulating activities to sustain herself, as without them, she would literally die of boredom. Jedah Doma was not the only Darkstalker seeking to overthrow Belial. Dmitry Maximov, a power-hungry vampire, harbored similar motivations, if not more intense ones. A century before the events of the games, Dmitry challenged Belial Iceland, but lost the battle. For his crimes against Makai's ruler and his ambitions for domination, Dmitry was exiled to Earthrealm, and that was not a fun part for Dmitry. Sunlight posed a significant threat to vampires, particularly to Dmitry, whose body would be destroyed from the inside if directly exposed. To protect himself from sunlight, Dmitry used his supernatural abilities to create a field that covered his castle, allowing him to recover his strength. For 50 years, he remained within his casket, emerging only during full moons to hunt for blood. To Dmitry, humans were merely food, their blood akin to the finest wine of Makai. Those bitten by Dmitry turned into vampires themselves, becoming loyal servants. As Dmitry regained 80% of his original power, he could temporarily create an aura that allowed him to walk on cloudy days, nearly conquering both night and day. After 100 years of humiliation following his defeat, Dmitry gained significant experience and knowledge from studying humans, preparing himself to reclaim his place in Makai. However, it was then when Pyron, the slumbering alien, decided to awake from his long slumber. The presence of this alien life form on Earth presented an opportunity for Dmitry to further increase in his strength. And so, he sought to challenge the alien first, before his long-awaited rematch against Belial. Pyron awoke, prepared to consume the planet, but first, he needed to deal with the Darkstalkers, whose presence he had sensed. His awakening drew numerous supernatural beings to him. The resurgence of Pyron triggered a cataclysmic earthquake and volcanic eruption, annihilating the peaceful aquatic empire of the merfolk. Amid the devastation, only the emperor and hero Rikuo survived. Enraged by the destruction of his home and the loss of his people, Rikuo discovered that Pyron was responsible for the catastrophe and vowed to stop him at any cost. Morrigan was one of the first to sense Pyron's presence. One night, compelled by the strange power emanating from him, she ventured into the human world once again. The prospect of battling a formidable adversary thrilled her endlessly. However, along the way, she inevitably encountered several other Darkstalkers, each pursuing their unique objectives and quests. One of these supernatural beings was Anakaris, the mummy of a resurrected pharaoh, brought back to life by a supernatural force upon Pyron's invasion of Earth. 5,000 years ago, Anakaris, the 12th pharaoh of a great Egyptian empire, ascended to the throne at the age of 12. Anticipating his future revival, he had a pyramid and a sanctum constructed to facilitate his return. As a pharaoh, Anakari saw himself as the embodiment of a god and believed he was a benevolent and just king. Who wasn't benevolent nor just was Bishamon, a Darkstalker hailing from Japan. Originally a noble samurai, Bishamon became possessed by a haunted armor and a bloodthirsty sword that compelled him to spill the blood of countless innocents and feed on their souls. His story began while browsing an antique shop. Bishamon discovered a piece of armor and a sword. Later he decided to don the armor, but the moment he did, he felt its magic corrupting him. He quickly realized it was too late to turn back. His mind twisted by the dark magic, Bishamon found himself wearing Hanya, the armor of hate, and wielding Kien, the blood-sucking sword. He embarked on endless battles, driven by Hanya's insatiable demand for sacrifices. The energy emanating from Pyron was particularly irresistible to Hanya, prompting Bishamon to set off and confront the extraterrestrial being. Not all Darkstalkers harbored malevolent intentions. Some were driven by much more benevolent motives. Felicia, a Catwoman, was one such individual. She was taken in and raised by a kind sister named Rose, who gave her her name. At 6 years old, Felicia discovered her true nature as a Darkstalker. Despite this revelation, Rose did not shun her as Felicia had feared. After Rose's death, Felicia left her hometown, aspiring to become a musical star. She was well aware of the world's prejudice against Darkstalkers, but she held on to hope. Felicia remembered Rose's teachings that happiness must be sought individually. She dreamed of a world where Darkstalkers and humans could coexist peacefully. To promote this harmony, she pursued her dream of fame, hoping it would serve as a bridge between the two races. However, Felicia's quest inevitably brought her into conflict with other Darkstalkers. Much like Felicia, there was another benevolent, albeit naive Darkstalker. Sasquatch, the noblest member of the Bigfoot tribe residing deep within the Rocky Mountains of Canada, sensed the powerful energy emanating from the extraterrestrial Pyron and embarked on a journey to uncover its source. Remember the army of robots Pyron created to annihilate life on Earth? After they succeeded in obliterating the dinosaurs, a massive earthquake buried them deep beneath the Earth's layers. In 520 AD, one of these robots was unearthed and repurposed by the Mayans as a guardian against evil forces in Central America, only to be abandoned in the ruins later. When Pyron returned to the present-day Earth, he revived the robot to complete its original mission. However, a malfunction caused Witzel to deviate from these commands. Instead of fulfilling Pyron's destructive orders, Witzel took on a new mission, protecting a young Mayan boy named Cecil. Consequently, Witzel turned against Pyron himself. Among the Darkstalkers drawn to Pyron's presence was John Talbane, a martial arts werewolf. Born to an English human mother and a werewolf father, John's mother died shortly after his birth, and he never had any contact with his father, whose whereabouts were unknown. John lived a peaceful life as a human until one full moon triggered his transformation, leading to his shunning by human society. Despite the shock of discovering his Darkstalker nature, Talbane held no resentment towards his parents, who had never been part of his life. Determined not to let his primal instincts dominate him, he dedicated himself to martial arts, striving to push beyond his limits. He believed that by maintaining his inner humanity, he might one day regain his physical humanity as well. Then there is Victor, the Darkstalker equivalent of the Frankenstein's monster. He was created by the mad scientist Professor Victor von Gardenheim, who died shortly after bringing him to life. Lacking an understanding of life and death, Victor misinterpreted his creator's unresponsiveness as disapproval. Believing that proving his strength would earn the professor's acceptance, Victor left the castle to find challengers and test his abilities. However, not everyone was drawn to Pyron's energy. Some were after the Darkstalkers themselves. These individuals, known as Dark Hunters, possessed supernatural powers but allied with the humans to hunt down their fellow Darkstalkers and protect humanity. The first of these hunters was Donovan Bane, a vampire or half-vampire half-human hybrid. During his childhood, an evil force awakened the vampire within him, leading him to massacre everyone in his village, including his mother, and drink their blood. Basically, he's half-blade, half-Leona. Tormented by his actions, he cursed his vampire blood and sought peace. He devoted himself to Buddhism, justice, and perfection with the help of monks and ninjas in Asia. During his travels, Donovan met a little girl named Anita who had supernatural powers. Her emotionless, empty eyes reflected his own suffering. Determined to save Anita's soul, Donovan set off with her to hunt all the Darkstalkers who preyed on the innocent. Donovan uses an Iron Maiden, which he named Brada Broody, to imprison any Darkstalker he captures. His primary weapon is the Daedalic sword, which has a mouth and eyes and emits its own aura. This sword grants Donovan immense power, which he controls with large beats. Harnessing the power of elemental spirits, he relentlessly hunts Darkstalkers as a Dark Hunter. The next Dark Hunter is Hsien-ko, a Chinese hopping vampire known as Jiangxi. Born human, Hsien-ko and her twin sister Mei-lin were trained as senjutsushis, or combat tacticians, by their beloved master. The sisters were cherished and respected by their community, and despite their different personalities, they were very close. On the night of their ceremonial initiation as senjutsushis, their village was attacked by Darkstalkers. Their master was murdered, and their mother sacrificed herself to protect them, resulting in her soul being trapped in darkness. To save their mother's soul, Hsien-ko used the Igyo Tenshin technique to transform into Jiangxi, while Mei-lin turned into a ward to help Hsien-ko maintain control over her darker half. Yep, the talisman on Hsien-ko's hat is actually her sister. This game is weird. Together, the sisters embarked on a mission to hunt down the Darkstalkers who attacked their village. Their goal was to release their mother's soul from darkness and protect innocent people as Dark Hunters of the night. And finally, the last Dark Hunter is Lord Raptor. Remember him? The resurrected zombie of a long-dead rock star? Unlike Donovan Hsien-ko, his reason for becoming a Dark Hunter were different. After becoming Ozum's personal assassin, he was told that to grow stronger, he needed to defeat the Darkstalkers and collect their souls for the Emperor. Although Lord Raptor agreed, his true plan was to destroy Ozum and take his place as Emperor. Despite his fearsome appearance, Lord Raptor possesses a surprising amount of humanity. He genuinely cares for his fans and values their support. He has formed a close bond with La Malta, who was initially sent by Ozum to spy on him. Probably his weakest point is his immense crush on Hsien-ko. Lord Raptor harbors a deep crush on her and is completely devoted to her, willing to do anything to ensure her safety. While Hsien-ko does not return his affections, she respects him for preserving his humanity. The Raptor can transform back into his human form. He revels in his Darkstalker existence and fully embraces his zombie identity. For a rock star, you can't go more metal than this. Getting close to Pyron inevitably led the Darkstalkers to cross paths, resulting in heated supernatural brawls. Many of these Darkstalkers succeeded in reaching and fighting Pyron. For example, Bishamon battled Pyron and was freed from the curse of his armor Hania due to Pyron's energy. However, it was Dimitri who ultimately managed to defeat Pyron, absorbing his power in the process. Now Dimitri was prepared to seize control of the realm of Makai and exact his revenge on Belial. However, when he returned to Makai, he was met with an unexpected surprise. Belial was dead. Consequently, his foster daughter, Morrigan, had become the heir to the Iceland family and the ruler of Makai. Upon her return from the human world, Morrigan learned of Belial's death and her new position as the successor to the Iceland throne. With Belial's passing, the third of Morrigan's power that Belial had split from her in her childhood returned to merge with her. Although she was now the rightful ruler of Makai, Morrigan avoided her responsibilities and continued her previous lifestyle. However, with her newfound strength, she could likely face Dimitri on equal footing. But just as Dimitri was ready to challenge Morrigan for control of Makai, another unexpected event occurred. He and his followers were suddenly put into an entirely different realm created by a powerful returning figure. Jedah Doma had returned, but that is a story for another time. Special thanks to my patrons for their support. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and why not consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.